Welcome to Bciu. We're on 109, which is headline writing with long tail keywords, which is very interactive, which is great because if you can't tell, my voice is not awesome right now. So speak up often, and like I said, this is pretty interactive. So start with, what is a long tail keyword? Jerry.
A long-tailed keyword is, I can't remember.
Give it a try.
It is to do with searches, kind of. We're going to do like a long-tail keyword would be like Shane Benjamin, Durango Herald, Redford murder.
Perfect, and that is a super long tail keyword.
Yeah.
So.
And it works.
Yeah, and that would bring up specific results, and that is such a great example of the fact that we know what we're searching for, and we use those search terms and long search terms in order to get the result that we want. So that was a great example. So Jerry gave us one. Shane, can you give us another example of a long tail keyword? A local long tail keyword.
Say Durango Herald, Mark Redwine, murder.
Excellent. David, give me another example.
Durango Herald, Peter Marcus, Colorado Legislature, gun bill.
You guys are like super specific, exactly. And again, remember, you are an expert at writing search engine optimized headlines because you know how to search. And all three of those examples are examples of you guys knowing exactly how to search, which means you know how to write an SEO headline. So what are some good examples of local short tail keywords? John Livingston.
Pizza.
Local short.
We did that last time. Fort Lewis College.
Excellent. Katie?
Durango Herald.
Excellent. Mike?
Animus River.
Excellent. So I really am confident after this little discussion that we all know the difference between short and long tail keywords. So that's great. That is the basis for everything. So you guys are really, really doing well. So some of the stuff we've already gone over, but I just want to reiterate it again, that online headlines need to differ from print headlines, and there's there's a handful of major ways that they need to differ. One is use full names. FLC, no. Fort Lewis College, yes. Durango Mayor, no. Durango Mayor Dean Brookie, yes. So be specific. That said, again, AP style is not always the best choice. Names are a perfect example of that. Often we use Brookie or, last name instead of first name, last name. So just keep that in mind. Also remember that online headlines don't always appear with the photo or the subhead that you have in print. And I'm running into this myself with Adventure Pro right now. Like when we go to the article, we've got the head and the subhead. On that homepage, I just have the headline. And we've been writing some kind of outdoor geared headlines that really, drill in on the subhead. And on our homepage now, you're not seeing those at all.
Well,
and
actually, drop heads.
Yes.
That's well, when you start saying subheads, that's the
Sorry,
little ones in
drop
between. I know.
heads, yeah.
It takes me a while to get it too.
Now, and that said, the headline must get the point across on its own. So, there are some headlines that are clever in print that talk about stomping on puppies. That headline with a picture of hush puppies makes sense. That headline with no photo just sounds like a cruel and unusual treatment of animals. So that's obviously an extreme example, but just keep that in mind that you don't have the photo, you don't have the subhead. That headline, that main head has to make sense on its own. Also remember that there's not really a length limit, although we've talked about ideal lengths. But if you have to, you can write really long. And again, to reiterate, we're writing for both people, we're writing for people, social media, and SEO. We're not just writing for one. So, there's some headline that the New York Times did one time that was something like, this is the best SEO optimized headline. And it literally was the best SEO optimized headline, which is great. But if that's not what your story's about, then getting that traffic is a moot point because everybody's going to bounce up. So these are some online headline tips. They're from one of my favorite writing coaches named Jim Stasiowski, who I had the honor of working with last year. I was at my last paper. He is a nationally known writing coach. And his biggest rule is that we shouldn't have rules for writing, just things we're trying to accomplish. And I think that's imperative for really everything we do in journalism, but also for online headline writing. Think about what we're trying to accomplish. Are we trying to accomplish something that's clickbaity in newspapers? 99.5% of the time, no. Are we trying to write a headline that tells the readers what the story is? Yes. Are we trying to write a story that shows up in search? If the Animus River spill is going on, search is more important than ever before. So, you always kind of have a priority, but just always think about what you're trying to accomplish with what you're doing. Again, people will always read about evil and stupidity. You can write the dumbest headline in the world, they'll read it. Like a good lead, a good headline really shows readers that the story is different from other stories. And, we talked about that a little bit with stops, like still remains, et cetera. That tells readers it's the same as other stories. But a good lead, a good headline really shows readers that you haven't read this anywhere else. This is the story to look at. And then again, emphasize conflict or tension whenever you can, because that's what people want to read. Again, we talked about headline length. We're a little too wordy. We want 10 words or less. That co-analyzer, which some of you have been using regularly, we need to use every day for 1A at least. Actually says 8 words or less and 55 characters.
This if it becomes strange, it's sometimes hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, and again, it's like I said, we want to be SEO, but we're writing for a reader. If we don't want to be such hard asses that we're like, 56 characters is too many, Shane, you're in trouble. No, we want to have the best headline for SEO. We want to have the best line for a reader. We want to have the best headline for our website. And sometimes you can only win on one of those. So, we choose what we're doing with each headline. And this is something else to remember. I grabbed a couple screenshots. Is how things display, and when you go to Co-Analyzer, you can see this too, how things display when they show up in search results. And so, these are a couple of sports headlines. This Fort Lewis College set to name basketball court is a good one. It cuts off because it's too long, but you get the main point in those few words at the beginning. Judge hears first interview of suspect in Iron Horse shooting. Again, you're like, oh, okay, this one is maybe what I'm looking for. Not the best headlines. They're long, they cut off, but they do get that point across before you get to the ... This one's great. Number 10, Fort Lewis College ready for special weekend. We don't necessarily know what that special weekend is if we're just searching because we don't have what sport it is in here. But if you're following Fort Lewis basketball, you know what the heck this is about. These are a couple examples from our website that are not very good SEO headlines. Ending the draft, these are from, as you guys know, our opinion section, and we need to get a little bit better. These are kind of the kickers that we use in print, and we just reiterate them online. Roberts is vote courageous. Again, so here we have the first sentence, but if you don't have that, are we talking about John Roberts? Are we talking about somebody local? What did they vote on? How is it courageous? Is it political? We have no idea what that story is about, just looking at the headline.
So when we do the opinion page, do we just use the drop head as the net head and then just maybe put the net head in notes field and just touch it after it's
That would probably be a great idea. It's worth trying to see if we start getting more traction.
It's always almost, the lead editorial is almost like a little hammerhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a hammer.
And it's a bad SEO headline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why don't we start that?
Yeah.
You guys rotate that page, right? Or that content pretty heavily
What do you mean rotated?
among staff?
Who does it?
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
My Nick does it most days.
Okay. Good headlines grab readers' interest, whether they're SEO or not. Tell them what the story's about. Not too ambiguous. That leads into the, clickbaity thing. You'll never believe what what's her first name? Redwine? Elaine Redwine said on Dr. Phil. And then you go to the story and it's like the same thing we've read 100. I don't know what she said, so maybe she did say something controversial, but but that would be a terrible headline for us. Our reader, you might get more clicks from people that discover it on Facebook or whatnot. Our readers are going to be pissed at that headline. So, remember who you're writing for. And then also don't give the entire story away in the headline because people won't click through, because we have trained people to read headlines and the first sentence. And we all I know we all do it ourselves sometimes. So, leave a little bit to it so that it's not just the people that want the deeper analysis that are clicking through. All right, so that said, we are going to look at some headlines that were on our sites and that are really long, and we are going to rewrite them. So this is from the Cortez Journal. Cortez man in Make My Day case sentenced for violating restraining order. Who have I not called on? Pat.
Cortez, a man sentenced for, what was it, violating restraining order? Cortez, man sentenced.
There it is. Making my day.
You're gonna lose something.
Tell me what you do.
How about Cortez, man sentenced in Make My Day case?
All right, 73, not bad.
What was it before?
Got a B plus. Well, that's why I just copied it. So before it was a 65, so it was still a B plus. So couple things here. So on the SEO front, we did do a little bit better with Pat's shorter headline. The other thing that we need to remember is not just SEO, when we're looking at length and those really long headlines, is not just SEO, but it's the fact that, so let's say that headline is right here, or even this former Marine one, that ends up being a 4-line headline, which is just terrible online experience for our readers and just looks really cluttered. So sometimes it's just about SEO, sometimes it's also about how it displays on our site. So, concise is good. So in our rewrite, did do better. All right, up next is Sam. Not Sam on the phone. You can Sam mute. So we have this headline, which is insanely long. La Plata County production related toxic waste minimal compared with San Juan County, New Mexico. So let's go ahead and plop the original one in.
I think I just read the story.
Woo, that hurts. That hurts. So Sam, let's give it a whirl.
You can only go up. Take out production related. And minimal. Yep.
So one problem with this is we don't really have it doesn't really make sense now.
Okay.
Somebody want to give her a hand, Mark?
Probably something around,
I know it's so little. It's a hard one too. I mean, there's a reason it was so long.
I would do something with the county.
How about worried about toxic waste? Don't go to San Juan County, New Mexico. Okay, and
You could shorten it just by saying, don't go to New Mexico.
worried about toxic waste? Don't go to New Mexico.
something about the toxic waste better here than it is there.
San Juan County's a toxic waste dump.
Maybe, La Plata County
Stinks less.
compares favorably.
For toxic waste?
How about comparing toxic waste treatment in San Juan and La Plata counties? Oh, that sounds like a graphic headline.
Yes, it actually does.
It's labeled for graphic.
You know about that one, it's not really saying much.
No.
You're not telling us.
That's a real problem because there's San Juan County, Colorado, there's San Juan County, Utah, and there's San Juan County.
Maybe something like less toxic waste.
And that's the
in
other
La
thing
Plata
too, is because
County.
it is New Mexico. So when we say La Plata and San Juan counties, we're implying that it's Colorado. So
What if you just said something like, in comparison, comma, La Plata County toxic waste minimal, and just leave out the I think it's just too long to get the name of both.
Yeah,
counties.
it really
that's
is.
the thing, trying to cram them both in there.
Minimal or favorable.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's good, something like that.
62, it's better.
Get in there.
So, and this is another one of those things where, you know, sometimes even just by coming to the co-analyzer and you spend a little bit more time thinking about it, you spend a little bit more time working on it, and, you know, maybe in the end you say, I'm going to suck it up when Amy bitches about a long headline tomorrow because I think this online headline with the long that we put with it originally is the best. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, if you thought about something, we can all play armchair quarterback, and we do as a newspaper folks every day. But if you thought about something and you made a decision based on thinking about something, it's really hard to fault you too much, but, you know, instead of making a decision just based on being a little bit lazy. So let's go back. So here's kind of the opposite problem. I can't remember if this was from Pine River or Cortez. Protecting homes' lives. What does that mean? I think that was maybe from Pine River. Let's see here. All right, so protecting homes' lives. Let's plop that into our co-analyzer. We'll get extra. Ooh, rough, very rough. And these are the kinds of scores you'll see on those opinion pieces as well. All right, so Katie. It's area Firewise volunteers win 3 national awards. So it's about some local folks winning awards.
That was pretty much our headline.
So what's wrong with the first word?
Yeah, we don't have
Don't use local.
Pipe down, gypsies.
You say Firewise heroes. Call them heroes.
Are we opining a little bit?
That's all right. They're heroes. They save lives.
Let's just say volunteers. Because they are pretty geographically different. So that's much better, obviously. Still C minus.
Volunteers as heroes. Yeah. You're going to get a better score.
I bet you will because it's authoritative, which they do like. Oh, about the same.
Get rid of the 3, I don't care how many there are.
Or you could maybe.
What if you said Pine River?
53, we're getting there.
See, I think you either need local or you need area,
Or Pine,
because,
you say Pine River?
then it doesn't matter, it could be anybody.
Is Pagosa Springs Pine River?
Or Pagosa Springs?
Yeah, and
I
I
didn't know
think
what
for
the
our
story was.
newspaper, I went with area because it was Pagosa, somebody else, and one Durango.
Yeah, it's Bayfield. It is Durango. Pagosa, Bayfield, and Durango.
Southwest
Then, so.
Colorado?
There you go. You're working.
Thank you, Shane. Could you tell by my eyes rolling around the room that that was not the right thing to do? So we're all around the 50s. So
What if you put wildfire?
Well, yeah, you get rid of Firewise, nobody knows what the hell that is.
That's a good point.
And what's the name of the awards?
And I would say National Fire Awards. Volunteers were in National Fire Awards.
Fire prevention awards, fire awards, yeah.
I think they're
Yeah, it's basically fire prevention is what.
okay. So I'm not going to put in all these suggestions, but really good suggestions across the board. What's the name of the organization giving them awards? What are the awards? Is there one that we want to highlight instead that was a little bit better and put the person's name up there? Really good job, guys. Those are all the things that we need to consider when we're looking at that. So we're going to go ahead and do one more, which is from yesterday in the Herald. So, Shane, tell me a better version of this one.
Up here, I remember.
Who wrote this headline? Somebody in this room, right?
I think I did.
I would just say back on Dr. Phil.
This is a bit of a trick. This is a great headline.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't see any-
I'm glad you guys were stumped.
I don't get a
So,
problem with it.
So we only get a B plus here, so I do want you guys to know it's really hard to get an A. So a B plus is pretty damn good. This headline has first name, last name of the thing that we know people are Googling, right? Dr. Phil, again, something that people are specifically looking at. Not talk show, Dr. Phil. Dylan's mother, we know that, here locally, that's going to get traffic. Aside from SEO, it's just his mother, the mother alone. So this is a really solid headline. So good job, Pat.
Just for curiosity's
Uh-huh.
sake, if you say, just change the wording just a little bit,
All right.
instead of saying to appear on, what about returns to, or something like that? I'm
Right.
just curious what kind of effect that has.
Discuss child's death.
Right. No.
A little bit lower, not much.
Insignificant.
Yeah.
Okay, I just was curious how it kind of does.
A little weird here because we have Dylan Redwine's mother discussing child.
Yeah.
But a little low.
That's good you didn't
But what's her name?
you didn't put the word on it.
Elaine Hatfield?
Oh, she has a different last name. How did I not know that?
Yeah, that's not gonna do much good, I'll bet you.
What about switching it and saying Dr. Phil to host
Ah,
Dylan Redwine's mother?
there you go,
So the interesting thing for that, because order does matter.
yeah.
So Dr. Phil, what was it? Dr. Phil?
To host Dylan Redwine's mom.
mother.
And Dylan Redwine is the term we search for.
Yeah.
It's not Elaine. Now, one thing here, so when I said the order matters, and this is irrelevant to whatever score we get here, is that more people are probably going to search Dr. Phil than Dylan Redwine, right? And so from a search perspective, it actually would be better to have Dr. Phil as the first part. I think I've mentioned to you guys one time, and we're about the same. One time, a weekly I worked for had a story on Dr. Oz, and somehow we had again, first thing up here, Dr. Oz at the beginning. Somehow we posted it at the exact moment he was doing something controversial on his show, and because our headline was really SEO'd for Dr. Oz, even though it had nothing to do with that specific show that was kind of crazy that day, we ended up getting about 45,000 page views that day on that story because so many people were searching Dr. Oz, and ours was one of the first ones. Kind of a timing fluke, kind of an SEO thing, but
Same thing with Ellen.
so again, you guys all I think are really understanding how to write better headlines. We're still not doing it on a regular basis, so really you have the tools now. Both literally with the co-scheduler and from what we've discussed here, you do know what to do and some good decisions. So make sure you're taking that extra couple minutes at night to really try to write a good SEO headline. Check it. Maybe if you're like, hey, I have this ridiculously long headline on Jonathan's story that I can't, try to make shorter. Hey, Mark, what do you think about this? Hey, Cliff, what do you think about this? And take a second to just huddle and, like it is when we're talking about weird stuff over there all the time, just talk it out. And maybe at the end there is no better solution and you're still with what you were, but you've thought about it, you've given it a little background, and hopefully you do, we come up with a better solution in the end. Next week, Amy's going to talk about linking in Saxatech, not just why it's important, but how to do it and really walk through so that we start linking more, both with anchor links and with related links in our story. So that should be a good one. Questions, comments, parties? Nope. Really good job, guys. You really do understand what we're doing here with SEO, so I'm really pleased.